just try to help each other along. That's what we're trying to do. And that's what right thinking is all about. So what I want to do now, Donna, some of the stuff that you had talked to me during the week on reflections, it was just really encouraging for me because I think we're on the right track now. Every day I get in the morning, you're talking about how your good time, your quiet time in the morning when you wake up and you meditate and the Holy Spirit comes. Every morning in my phone, I'm like a young person. I got my phone, but I go to my phone because every day I get the thought for the day from Napoleon Hill. And I've been doing this for a long, long time. And the last couple of days go right along with everything we're doing. I got to say this. After we did the show last week, you told me that when Gary, my racquetball buddy, he listens to every show. And Gary, I haven't said it in a long time, but thanks for being such a wonderful friend and a strong supporter. But Donna, you said, you know what Gary's going to say when I hear his comments on the show. He's going to talk about how many times you use the word responsibility in some of the sentences. Because, I mean, we were all over the word responsibility. But he didn't. What he said, though, was he thought when you were talking, you were just going to start singing a song like R-E-S-P-O-N, like kind of the tune to Respect with Aretha Franklin. But he loved the show. He made me feel good. But let me go back to this. The reason I got back into Gary and what you thought he was going to say about responsibility, I want everybody to listen to what I'm going to read, Thought for the Day from Napoleon Hill, and try to think how many times in this one paragraph Napoleon Hill uses the word responsibility. Big pay and little responsibility are circumstances seldom found together. I'm going to read that title again because it is exactly right. Big pay and little responsibility are circumstances seldom found together. It is possible to go through life without ever accepting any responsibility. But such freedom from the cares of the world comes at an enormous financial cost. If you make it a practice to go out the back door when responsibility walks through the front, you will also miss out on the opportunities that always accompany responsibility. In almost any vocation, profession, or calling, your remuneration is directly proportional to the responsibility that accompanies your position. Make it a practice to volunteer for more responsibility or simply to assume it. There are times when you must get out on the task. Let me read that again. There are times when you must get on with the task at hand without ever being formally told you're in charge of it. If you demonstrate that you are a can-do kind of person, responsibility and the higher pay that accompanies it will come to you. The point of that is so good. Basically, I'm going to paraphrase it. If you want to get ahead in life, take on a lot of responsibility. Make yourself indispensable. When I do my job coaching with people, I teach people to, when you get that job, just be the best employee that they've ever hired and take on all the responsibility you can. You'll find raises, you'll find promotions, you'll find things like that. And that's what you got to do if you want to get ahead, as opposed to a person that goes to work somewhere and just shows up and clocks in and hangs out and looks at their watch to find out what time is lunch break. You know, when you take a job, the very best attitude you can have that parallels Napoleon Hill's conversation responsibility is don't have a mentality of an employee, but adopt the mentality of an owner. If you get in there and instead of viewing yourself as an employee, view yourself as an owner of a future business, as an entrepreneur in training, and that this job that you currently have, it's just a growing ground, a place where you can hone your skills and learn things on someone else's nickel. But if you're doing that, you're going to be rewarded, and you'll have a better chance for whatever you're going to do for the rest of your life. And you'll reap the benefits. You'll take home more money. You'll be given more respect. And that's what we all want, I think. At least that's what I would like. So I want you to think about how many times Napoleon Hill wrote the word responsibility in there. I'm not going to give you the answer. So join Right Thinking Foundation, rightthink.org, and communicate with me or listen to it again, either way. Hey, before we go any further, you can get a hold of the thought for the day with Napoleon Hill by going to NAPHill, short for Napoleon, NAPHILL.org. And I'm telling you, being affiliated with the Napoleon Hill Foundation and being a follower of Napoleon Hill my whole life since I was in my early 20s, it's just incredible. I've said on other shows that the books that have had the most profound effect on my life is, number one, the Bible, the Word of the Lord, but then Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich and Outwitting the Devil. And so I like to thank Napoleon Hill for all the lessons that he's taught me. And by the way, he's got a new book out that's just being released. It's the second book in a series, and it's called Wishes Won't Bring Riches. Wishes won't bring riches. And I'll speak more about that later. But it's all about taking the crucial leap from faith to action. You know, you've got to take action. Thoughts without action don't go anywhere. Now, there's a second one the next day that I read from Napoleon Hill's thought for the day. I get up every day and I just look for my thought for the day because it's a great source of encouragement. And that's a little pointer that I want to give everyone. Get up with a spirit of another day that we're thankful that the Lord has given us another day. And if you have that when you get out of bed, that you're just thankful and that you're going to move forward today and help a few other people reach their goals, you're going to have a good day. Here's a nice one here from Napoleon Hill, thought for the day. It's a free service, by the way. There's no reason not to subscribe to it. Success requires no explanation. Failures must be doctored with alibis. The surest way to achieve acceptance in any organization or in any line of work is to be successful. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. No matter how carefully you study a subject, no matter how rationally you make decisions, no matter how well prepared you are, you will occasionally make mistakes. Human beings always do. The important thing is to realize that temporary setbacks are not permanent failures. Successful people recognize that we all experience temporary setbacks that require us to reevaluate our performance and take corrective action to achieve success. They know that adversity is never permanent. I want to stay on that for a second. That's got about 4 different points in there that I base a lot of my teachings on. Everything I do with right thinking and try to get people to get rid of their stress from finances so that they can at least get on control of something that they can, so that they'll be less distracted and can deal with things that come their way that they have no control over, like car accidents, medical illness, sometimes divorce or other hardships and job layoffs and things. If you're not being stressed out by things, when something hard comes your way, you'll be more focused to be able to deal with it. You know, all this stuff's the same thing coming at us from different directions. The Jim Stovall main theme that I've been getting from him in the almost a year that I've been involved with Jim is to get rid of distractions. And real simply put, if you know your purpose, anything that you're doing that is a distraction that's not helping you reach your purpose, you should eliminate. And so that's one of the very best things that we can all do is to cut back on things that are just a waste of our time. I had a couple sessions this week where I was mentoring a few people, and it's interesting. I told this one gentleman that is trying to get on top of his finances, that's looking for a job right now, and he wants to do well, and he's a fine man. I was telling him a personal story about someone that had a habit of doing Red Bulls, 3 Red Bulls a day, $10.50 a day. And those add up real quick. And he didn't have money to pay his rent. But then when I found out about his Red Bull habit and his beef jerky habit and Starbucks habit and fast food habits, there was enough money floating around that he never should have been behind in his finances. And once he learned that, he had his priorities straightened out and he stopped doing these things that were a distraction. So this gentleman that I was trying to probe into, what is your Red Bull habit? And, this was a very good man. And his distraction, which was keeping him from getting ahead in life and keeping him from ever having any money to pay his rent, was that he allowed other people to bum money off of him that could care less about him. A pack of cigarettes to this woman, or this, or that. And he was just a soft touch. And so many people were pinging on this man that it was a shame, because this is a good man, but he didn't know how to say no. And I don't want to be the guy to tell him, well, don't, start turning people down. But the point was, he wasn't taking care of his responsibilities. He was unable to take care of his own responsibilities. And then I had to work on him to try to, are these people that are asking you for a pack of cigarettes, do they need those cigarettes? I said, don't let them smoke cigarettes. Cigarettes cause cancer. He laughed. But I tried to show him that you got a good heart, but you have to look after yourself. Now, Donna, I'm not going to bring into the conversation because I know that you're studying something right now, but here's what it is. You have talked to me many times about how you face things, and you've given me the example, and I passed this on to this gentleman just the other day, that if you're on an airplane and all of a sudden there's a turbulence and the oxygen mask drops down and there could be loss of pressure in the cabin, why do you have to put your mask on first before you put your child's mask on? Well, the reason is that if you can't take care of yourself, you are not going to be equipped to take care of that child either. So don't try to save the other person until you know you're in a position where you're going to be able to. Because that's the bottom line is that we must learn to take care of ourselves. But once we learn to take care of ourselves and once we stabilize, it's very, very important to be able to give to others. And so it's a temporary thing, perhaps, to be able to hunker down and make sure you've got your own responsibilities covered and make that a habitual thing to where you accept your responsibilities and then continue doing those forever. But you'll be in a position when you become more successful, if one of your goals in life is to be there for other people, then that's fine. You can be there for other people, but don't shirk your own responsibility. Don't not pay your rent because you bought a couple packs of cigarettes. And the person that did that I was talking about, he said cigarettes are almost $7 a pack now. Well, I know that Red Bulls are up to around $3.50 and beef jerkies. I was shocked when I got involved in the beef jerky world. I had no idea, but beef jerkies are everywhere. I started looking at them in all the 7-Elevens and all those kind of places. Bags of beef jerky can go from $8 to $13 or $14. They got so many flavors, teriyaki and Asian, this or that. But it's just something that, do you really need? Is it helping you reach your ultimate purpose in life? And if not, pull back and organize yourself. So that's kind of my diatribe on that. But I brought that up because Napoleon Hill on this one, he used the word reevaluate. And that's exactly what you were talking about, Donna, that caught your attention, is that you go through life and you look at it. People that have a plan and they tuck it away on the shelf somewhere and never look at it again, and they go a year down the road and never look back at it, and they deviate way off of the plan that they put together, they're not going to be very successful. But if they look at that plan and they modify the plan as they go on. I don't have the exact quote, but Napoleon Hill teaches that the very best time to start is now. A lot of people, for whatever reason, they don't want to get started. They might just be afraid to get started. They might not think they're good enough. They might think that they need to prepare more. Over preparation is dangerous if it keeps you from moving forward. So surround yourself with good people, mentors, role models, read good books, and just start to move forward. But as you move forward, use your mind. Think about, look at what you're doing, evaluate. And that's what Napoleon Hill says. The best time to start is now, and then modify as you go forward. And you could start and be in completely the wrong direction, but that's okay because at least you're moving. At least you're moving. So those are my two Napoleon Hill comments for the day. By the way, Jim Stovall, you can go to his website, jimstovall.com. JIMSTOVALL.org. And one of the things that I'm very pleased with is that I think I had at least 7 or 8 people make comments on the wisdom of Jim Stovall. that it's just incredible. And I really